Welcome to the Intro to Web Development for Notes Developers. I'm Chris Toohey, and today and till Wednesday, you're going to get the first of Unit 1, which is Intro to HTML. In this unit, we're going to cover the basics of HTML elements and design the structure of a web page. Think of HTML as the skeleton, CSS as the skin, and JavaScript as the brain and motor function. We're going to be tackling the core fundamentals of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, the core fundamentals of web development first, before we dive into the more quite frankly, the more difficult stuff to comprehend. If you don't have a solid foundation in web development to begin, it's more difficult and seems scarier when you get into asynchronous calls and local storage and manifest files and trust me, you want to start off with the basics, understanding exactly what HTML pages are, understanding how form submission works and how form data works, and how multi-part form content, encoding multi-part form content. If all this sounds like gibberish, it's probably because I'm still working on my first cup of coffee, and trust me, by the end of this, it won't. Well, it might still sound like gibberish coming from me, but it shouldn't sound like gibberish overall. Today's kickoff is sponsored by the Leedies. Dave Leedy, and more importantly, let's be honest here, Becky Leedy, have been, during this entire quarantine, creating masks. Dave Leedy ran out and got a 3D printer. Specifically so they could create face shields and ear savers. And I have with me today, not that I have to necessarily wear it on my back porch in my backyard, one of their masks, hand delivered by Becky and a student driver, Leedy. These masks, while not only fashionable and designed well enough that they fit my gigantic head, they have an insert inside that uses the filter from, it's a 99.7% antimicrobial vacuum bag filter that can actually be swapped out using obviously the vacuum bags. There's also just a suggestion for coffee filters if you don't want to go to that point. This helps flatten the curve. I think the transmission potential between two people wearing masks, even if one is COVID-19 positive, is something in the single-digit percentage. Nonetheless, I say sponsored because the Leedies delivered 7 of these. I have 7 people in my family, and they delivered 7 of these to the house, and I wanted to make sure that I was able to contribute back to them. Since I'm asking for absolutely nothing for this course, I figured we'd do something awesome. I will, in the classroom, post the Leedies PayPal account. I absolutely, there's no requirements, but show a little love. It's the Leedies, for crying out loud. If you've watched a video on Notes and 9 or anything I've done over the past 15, 17 years, I don't know how long ago it took a schmuck to register a domain name. There you go. Speaking of schmucks, apparently yesterday I had this on backwards. Becky, if you're watching this, am I doing it right? La-di-da. Okay. So, without further ado, at this point, you should have your first assignments. That's the Intro to HTML Elements, where we're going to cover divs, spans, and we're going to talk about how different browsers render them natively. That's going to become important when we talk about how we can use CSS to modify the design and the layout of how native elements are rendered. And before we get into the more complex stuff, it's really important to cut your teeth, I think, with these basics. I would also recommend, instead of opening up Domino Designer, go ahead and open up the text editor of your choice, or web development IDE. I absolutely recommend Microsoft Visual Studio Code. Not only is it free, so it fits my budget, it also is a multi-language, multi-discipline, comprehensive IDE. You can just set whatever the language is on the bottom right-hand side. You'll say, I'm writing in text HTML, and boom, you're off to the races. Any questions, go ahead, post them in the classroom. I'm still trying to learn Google Classroom. There's things I like about it, and there's things I absolutely hate about it. Having written my own LMS, Google should hire me. I would be, I'd be able to bring some stuff to the table, so to speak. No, but all joking aside, there's absolutely lackluster functionality as far as allowing me to engage with you. So to bridge that gap, we're probably going to use other technology that's available to us. Everyone's been using Zoom lately. Because you're already registered via Google to attend this class, you're obviously within the Google system. Instead of having to sign up for Zoom, there's also security issue. I don't know what the gist of it is. Nonetheless, I think we're going to stick to like Google Hangouts, which I'm going to try to host these, but I'm going to try to come up with the best time. And maybe I'll host multiple, one in the morning, one in the later evening. That way, depending on your schedule, your location around the world, since this is open up to the entire world, we'll try to accommodate everyone. Again, if you have any questions, Chris Toohey at dominoguru.com. You know where I'm at. Obviously, if you found me, you know where we're at. And hopefully you like this course. Feedback and feedback above all, but feedback, questions, anything, hit me up, and enjoy the course. Take care.